Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today, obviously, things are very different than how I usually have things set up. Usually I'm standing in front of my DVDs, well, my Blu-rays, and just speaking with a bunch of jump cuts very quickly and just, I don't know, a lot more editing to it, a lot less personable. So I guess the thing that I really wanted to do was more of a sit down where it's kind of more of just a ramble talk about these films because I mean for the other reviews that I do usually they're first time viewings, and so I won't have much to say outside of 10 minutes, but with some of these franchises that I really love, I can talk for days on them. So I didn't want to, like, sometimes when you're just standing in front of that camera, it's really difficult to formulate thoughts, and I almost always forget something. I'm like rushing through things, and I feel like I never like get my point across. So since I wanted to do these franchise reviews, I didn't want to fall victim to anything like that happening again. Just because since with these franchise reviews there's so many films in them, and I'm not sure as far as what the format will be, so I just really essentially wanted a place to have, just to be able to discuss things, get connect a little more with you guys, because obviously when you have like all those jump cuts and like it can just put a wall between us. So I just wanted something just, these are, I enjoy watching these types of videos, so I figure I may as well do one. And also shout out to Cadaver Club because I'm totally stealing his red blue light. He always switches up his lights, but I got red and blue ones because I absolutely love the layering that does to the different shots. So, like, as you can see in the intro. So, thank you, Cadaver Club. 100% inspired by you. And apologies if it looks like a big ripoff, but I'll just say that it's an homage. So, thank you very much. Well, yeah, I guess that's all the housework out of the way. Just wanted to, guess, kind of just inform you guys as to how this is going to be. So really, I'm just going to be doing cuts if I need to. Like, so my camera only records in 12-minute increments. So obviously, if I'm talking for a long time, then there's gonna be cuts for when that switches over. So, or if I just get interrupted because I have roommates, and that's just how roommate life is. And so yeah, we'll just play it by ear. I don't even know how I don't know how long this will go. Who fucking knows? But I'm relaxed here. I got coffee, and guess what? I'm ready to talk about The Conjuring. For these franchise reviews, I had debated on so many different franchises for so long, but then I just thought about what I really wanted to watch and it'd been a while since I had seen, and The Conjuring just was right at the top of that list because this is just a series that kind of snuck up on me where I was like, "Oh, damn, I guess that is a franchise. Oh, damn, I guess I actually really like that franchise." So that aspect is something that it's nice because it can feel like nothing current is good sometimes in terms of franchises. Like I've just been waiting for a franchise ever since like Saw essentially ended, because I don't like the Paranormal Activity films. I'm just not into them. I'm not into the Purge series, so there hasn't been a whole lot, and that's why I'm really hoping, like Happy Death Day, I'm hoping that it becomes a franchise because I love franchises. I just love connecting with these characters and following them along, even if that character happens to just be the villain that we're following. But something with the Conjuring series just really appeals. it's likely because of James Wan. I just really like his style. His aesthetics really just align with my own. I like how he really focuses on like longer takes and like having stylish camera angles, but not at the story's peril, which is good. I especially with the Conjuring. I'm gonna the thing is I'm gonna do my best to just talk about the Conjuring and not go into the other films. Obviously, because I'll have a whole nother video for those other films. But I also watched all of these movies like back to back over like a couple days, so they're all so fresh in my head, and so I'm gonna just try to avoid not talking about them completely, because right from the jump it's hard not to. Because okay, so the film opens up and really sets up a trope that becomes prevalent in the Conjuring series, and that's showing a case that is but isn't relevant to the main story. And so this one in particular is actually the Annabelle doll, which obviously it gets its own separate, it's part of the Conjuring franchise, but obviously it's its own thing, where it's, currently you have, because The Nun was a failure, that you currently have The Conjuring and Annabelle, which is all part of the Conjuring franchise, but they're like going concurrently, which is interesting. But the just the addition, like having Annabelle there, was honestly, it was kind of jarring, because I guess I didn't realize that they had introduced like that doll so early on, especially because the Annabelle doll is the first shot of the film, which is just, it's crazy. Sorry, my eyes like starting to tear up for some reason. Okay, I guess I get so emotional when discussing The Conjuring. But I really think that's just cool, that like, just a cool little fact that it's the first shot of the entire series is the Annabelle doll. So it's cool, and I think that the potential there is what makes it so exciting, and it's just a really, really creepy doll. Really, really, really creepy doll. And honestly, I feel like the only reason that they really introduced that in this film was just to have like another creep factor, which is fine. It's totally fine. The scene itself serves as just introducing us to the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine, to the point that we get to see what they're doing, what their day-to-day is in terms of these possessions and hauntings. So I like that. I also really enjoy that they talk about how, I mean, most of them it's something completely logical. Like, oh, you have a leak here that's dripping down onto this floorboard, which is causing the wood to expand, which is causing these creaks in your house. So get this leak fixed and you shouldn't have those types of issues anymore. Things like that. Like, I think that's cool. I like that they even bring that up. And I also like that it just makes them skeptical until seeing something. Like, if they see something, they know what's up. Like, they're like, oh no, this is a sign. Like, this is actually supernatural, not just some random logical occurrence. So I like that. I also like I like that whole concept, I guess, that gives this whole living, breathing world. It's not just like, oh well, this is the story of this family and we're just getting to see this. This is a little glimpse into Ed and Lorraine's life, which I should state, when I like speak about this, I'm talking about like the Conjuring, like fictional world. I am not talking about the real life Ed and Lorraine Warren, because I do not believe that these films are like adaptations of their life. So I think that they're kooky, pretty kooky people. But so I don't want you guys to be confused or just thinking like, wait a minute, does he think that these are actual like based on true life events? Because I mean, obviously, there's events surrounding it's I don't know. It's just like with anything horror oriented. It's like a small sliver of something. There's a small sliver of truth, so we'll just say that the whole thing is true. That's just what you get when it comes to horror films. This is essentially a possession ghost story. Well, I mean, demon, ghost, whatever. Possessing like a family, haunting a family because actually I don't. Would this be considered a spoiler? I don't know. This whole thing is a spoiler, so it's whatever. But the whole thing is that the this demon is trying to, or I guess it's technically a witch. That this witch is trying to possess this mom in order to murder her daughter. I don't know. I don't. I don't understand if it's or I'm sure that they explained in this, but I don't know if it's just this ritual where then the demon will be, or the witch will be like more powerful, or if it will like make her corporeal. I didn't really understand that aspect. I just know that the task was that it wants to possess the mom in order to murder the daughter. So that was fine. I liked the it was a bit of a reversal of like the roles from like Amityville. Just in that, in Amityville, obviously it's the dad who gets like possessed and does harm or tries to do harm to his family. So I like that they switched it to the mom. Speaking of the family, the whole family dynamic is great. I love just how loving they all are, while also having those little like at each other's throats kind of moments, because that's what family is. And so they were really able to capture that well. And especially I really love I have notes right here, right next to my lovely Conjuring DVD or Blu-ray. Why the fuck do I keep saying DVDs? I like never have that issue, but for some reason in this video I keep saying DVDs. I have the nice Blu-ray here set up, but I have my notes right behind it with bullet points, so that then since I'm not doing a lot of cuts in this, I don't want to have a lot of space where I'm just like so I wanted to be a little bit prepared, that way when I lose track I can just look over and see what I need to be talking about. But yeah, I really like Lily Taylor and Ron Livingston's performances, and like just the relationship in this. Like I really bought them as a loving husband and wife, which was, it's nice because I feel like in these films, especially like in horror films, you don't get that. Most of the time it's just like, yeah, well, it's just the mom and dad, like they don't show affection towards each other. They just they don't seem like they would ever even be in the same room together. But in this one, they have a very loving relationship, and it's really cool that it's not just that they actually took the time to focus on that, because obviously the kids are the ones that are more being haunted, and it's more just a bigger deal. And speaking of haunting, and like while I'm on the family, Lily Taylor, when she does the scene with her daughter where they're doing like, it's essentially like a hide and seek game, but you get 3 claps. Like you get to say clap, and the person hiding has to clap twice, and they get 3 of those. And that scene was great just because it's so intense just to know that it's like, ooh, you think you're playing with your daughter, but this is that fucking demon. You don't do it. Like, so that's just really intense moment, especially when, because I mean, she's at the wardrobe, and clearly there was a clap from the wardrobe, which I mean she can't see because she's blindfolded, but we even see like the arms reach out and clap, and then she like goes up to the wardrobe, so it's even more intense. Open like, and I think she feel like she opens it, or her daughter then appears, and she's like, "Oh, mommy, I was in so and so's room the whole time." It's like, oh, so this is clearly the demon that was doing the clap. Everything about it just gives it, like, even talking about it gives me chills. That scene was so good, especially because it sets up the great gag later where she's like going down, the mom's going down to the basement, and she has like the candlelight, and all of a sudden the claps right behind her head, like it's that big trailer moment. And that just, it was so cool, so cool. And again, it's all because of the setup. They just did a really good job with the setup for that. And speaking of the I'm still on the family, gotta talk about Joey King. So Joey King's an actress that she's started doing. I mean, she's just in a lot of stuff. She just pops up. She's in the Independence Day Resurgence. She's in some stupid Netflix movie. She's essentially she just pops up in a lot of different things. She's in some TV show, Hulu TV show with Patricia Arquette that's starting soon. That's supposed to be a big thing. So she's a very legit actress, and you get to see that in this film. Her freak out scenes and like her crying scenes are insanely good. It's something that I feel like gets taken for granted sometimes in these types of movies, but that shit's hard to do, and the fact that she pulls it off so well just makes the scenes work even better. Because in particular, I believe it's the first haunting, like the first legit haunting where they get the full on proof, where I wish I could remember a name. The witch. I'll just call her the witch. The witch pulls at her feet, and then like pulls at like the sheets and blah blah blah, where she has to like look under. She's like looking under her bed, and then she sees something behind the door. We don't quite see what she's seeing because it's so dark, but then we get to see her sister get up, where she's like, what are you talking about? There's someone up there. She goes to check on it, and then like turns around, and she's even saying, she's like, he's right behind you. That scene is just fantastic, because again, your imagination is doing a lot of the work there, a lot of the heavy lifting. Going back to the imagination thing, the witch itself, they don't show her a ton. It's mostly in shadow, and it's a fairly generic demonic figure, but the genius of that is that it really, again, your imagination does so much of the work, which just makes it even more terrifying. Because sometimes when you have too much of a defined being, it isn't as scary, it doesn't come across as well. And so this one, it works great because of the fact that they hold so much back. Whew. A little bit of the burps from this coffee that I'm drinking. Let's see, what else can we talk about with The Conjuring? Because there is just so much, and I was just thrown off because my camera got full out of nowhere right when I was in the middle of this great thought, and I don't even know. Things just disappear. That's why I have notes. So I guess another thing that I absolutely loved in this is the Warrens like trinket room, the thing that has these totems from their cases. I think the thing that I enjoy so much, again, is going back to the imagination thing, where it's just there's so much potential in that room. You get to see the Annabelle doll. You get to see like these little totems. You're like, ooh, what's that from? Ooh, that looks creepy. I wonder what the story is behind that. Which just sets up for later films like this. So that aspect is just so cool. They were very smart in how they did that, because again, it just makes you so curious as to what could potentially be happening with, like, what stories could be told from that. So just it's so cool. It's so cool. And especially because of how creepy the Annabelle doll is, they just did a great job with that. However, and this is honestly my one big gripe with this film, and it's just that I feel like the daughter, like Ed and Lorraine's daughter, it's just kind of a character that's just there to take them away from the family for a bit, just to add a little bit of drama, because this is Ed and Lorraine's daughter. She should be very well versed in what they do, why this room is off limits, just all this stuff of like, and not playing into the demonic stuff. But no, she gets woken up in the middle of the night. She fucking goes through the house, plays right into the fucking whatever this demon's hands. Like, I believe it's the Annabelle doll that they're implying is haunting her there, and who knows? Who honestly knows? And it could just be a random demon from that room, but it seems to be implied that it's the Annabelle doll, which would make sense as to like what we know about that doll through the other films. But that character, again, it just seems like she's just there to give the Warrens something, like, to like, oh, we gotta leave, we gotta go protect our daughter. Which, I mean, I get that it makes them a little, I don't know, I would say that it makes them more likable, but it's like they leave their daughter pretty willy-nilly, especially in the second one. We'll get into that in a couple videos. But it's just a silly plot dynamic that I didn't like. Especially didn't like how clueless the grandmother that's watching their daughter, like, just a little bit of forethought from them would have been nice. Like, they shouldn't be as ignorant to all this stuff, is essentially what I'm saying, and why that scene bothered me like it did. Because it just seemed very, very unnecessary. Very unnecessary. But then I really like that ending. The ending's just a great possession ending, where you're having like the whole exorcism aspect, but then you're getting just a really well shot film. Which, one aspect that I haven't touched on that I really want to talk about is how the utilization of the long takes and the continuous takes, it's not like it's like, oh, this is this fucking 5 minute no break in the action. No. There's plenty of cuts, but the long takes are used in such a way where it's like, a 10 to 15 second long take where you have either at the beginning or the end, there's some kind of stunt going on, something with like the possession, where it makes things both look like it has a much higher budget, and it just adds this creep factor. It's just something about it when you're adding the reality of getting to, because that's the thing with continuous shots, it really helps ground what you're seeing and add to the reality of it. And so when you have these longer takes where you're getting to establish reality, and then something otherworldly happens, it helps you buy it more. And this movie is a prime example of that, the scene I'm thinking of in particular is they're in like a living room, all the family, and one of the girls gets dragged by the like demonic presence, and it's just done in such a way that it's knocked out of the park. They had to have clearly done some fairly extensive like wire removal, because it just works so well. And just it made me realize that more films, especially like possession films, need to start utilizing that, just because it helps. It really, really, really helps sell the force of it all, the supernatural element of it all. And I liked too that there's this mystery behind Ed and Lorraine, in terms of something happened to Lorraine and Ed's real protective of her to the point that he doesn't even want her doing exorcisms. And so that was cool, because again, it's setting up this larger world where we feel like we're getting a glimpse of this husband and wife's life, which is so fucking fascinating. And so again, it's just really, really cool. They did a phenomenal job with this film. James Wan, after he did Insidious and this film was announced, it was just kind of like, he's doing another demon possession movie. Like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing. That's fine. We can do that. But this was really just a great throwback to 70s horror films like The Amityville Horror and Rosemary's Baby from the 60s. There's just a lot to love with this film. And there's a reason that The Conjuring became a franchise after this. They did a great job, and if you haven't seen these films, do yourself a favor, check them out. Even though I spoiled actually all of the film, which that's how these are gonna go. I'm gonna talk about the movie, I'm gonna spoil the fucking shit out of them. So hopefully that's not an issue. I hope that everyone has seen the Conjuring series, even though still haven't seen The Nun yet, where's that at? It's around here somewhere. I rented it, so it's the only film in the franchise that I haven't seen. For that one, I'm really gonna try and essentially watch it and then film. Do it right after. Try and get that real visceral reaction, because I have a feeling I'm gonna hate it. So there's a little bit of a tease for the last video in this series, but yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed this format. I hope it's not real weird just to see me like sitting down, and probably like worse and worse posture as the video goes on. But I don't know. I just thought this would be cool to do, switch things up a little bit, and yeah, just essentially that. Just switch. It's all about switching things up, making things a little more interesting, a little more, again, personable. I wanted more of a connection, because I like videos like this where it's essentially long rambles, and so may as well do them. Yeah, that's really all for this week. You guys know what's coming up next. We got Annabelle, and it's the first one, so it's, spoiler alert, it's got some issues, but also spoiler alert, I enjoyed those issues. It's still a fun time. So, yeah, we'll see you next week. Hey guys, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And look, I even have a new ending finally. Holy crap, it took forever. And I'm just saying random stuff that I don't need to be saying. Oh well. And end.